Good evening. Today, our topic for today is AC voltage applied to a circuit with just a capacitor. We already dealt with two other circuits. We apply AC voltage to a circuit which has only a resistor, and then in the next session we did an AC voltage being applied to a circuit where we only have an inductor. And today, our topic is applying AC voltage to a circuit having only a capacitor. So before we go into this topic, let us see what happens when you apply a DC voltage to a capacitor. So here we have a capacitor to which we are connecting a DC battery through a key. Now this is a positive terminal and this is a negative terminal. So before your key is closed, that is when it is open, the plates of your capacitor are uncharged. As soon as you switch on this key, you will see the circuit is complete. So the electrons from this negative terminal will travel here and charge this plate as negatively charged. So electrons flowing in this direction would mean the current is flowing in the opposite direction. And from here, we have the electrons being repelled so that this plate becomes positively charged. These electrons move towards the positive terminal of the battery. So because the electrons are moving in this direction, we have current moving in the opposite direction. So you see, the plates of the capacitor are charged now, and we already know that the capacitor, we know that the Q is equal to C into V from the second chapter. Now, C is a constant, A epsilon 0 by D into K. So depending on the plate area, the distance between the plates and the dielectric medium between the plates, we know that C is a constant. And as the charge on the plates increases, the voltage across the plates also will go on increasing. So as the plates get charged, when the voltage across the plates of the capacitor becomes equal to this voltage, then when it becomes equal, then there will be no more flow of charges towards the plate because the potential difference is the same. So this happens in a very small interval of time, let's say microsecond. So in that very short interval of time, you will have charges flowing and you will have a current flowing in the circuit till this V and this V become equal. But once the capacitor plates are charged, then no more flow of charges will be there. There will be no current in the circuit. So for a very microsecond, you will have a current which charges up the plates. Once it is fully charged, then there is no more flow of current in the circuit. And this is why we say that a capacitor blocks DC current. So in a circuit where you have a capacitor connected to a DC voltage, you will have no current. For a very short interval of time till the plates are charged, you will have current. After that, you will not have any current in the circuit. The same capacitor, when you connect it to an AC source. Now, when you connect the same capacitor to an AC source, what happens is, your AC source, you know that for the first half cycle it will be in one direction. For the next half cycle, it will reverse its direction. So here, when let's say for the first half cycle, this terminal is positive and this terminal is negative. So like before, this negative terminal will charge this plate as negative charge. So since electrons are moving in this direction, we have a current in the opposite direction. Similarly, the electrons from here will be repelled, making it positive, and these electrons will now move towards the positive terminal. So since electrons are moving in this direction, you have current in this direction in the circuit. But in the next half cycle, the terminals will reverse, so that this now becomes negatively charged and this becomes positively charged. When this happens, these electrons will now move in this direction towards the positive terminal, so that this plate losing electrons will now be oppositely charged, that is positive charges. Electrons are moving in this direction, so your current also reverses its direction here. Now here what happens is, this is a negative terminal, so these electrons will now move towards this plate, making it negatively charged. So that electrons moving in this direction would be current in the opposite direction. So you have a flow of current in the reverse direction now. So you see, when an AC voltage is connected to a capacitor, there will be continuous current in the circuit, even though the current is reversing its direction because of the charging and discharging of your capacitor. So basically, DC voltages when connected to capacitor blocks DC current, but AC currents are allowed to, when you connect an AC source, there will be a current in the circuit which keeps changing its direction. There will never be charges flowing across the plates of the capacitor, but because of the charging and the discharging of the capacitor plate, there will be current in the circuit, AC current in the circuit. So now what we are going to do is, we are going to study how the current and the voltage vary in the circuit. Just like we did for the other two circuits, we need to find a phase relationship between the current and the voltage in the circuit. Now, as usual, your voltage output is a harmonically varying function, V equal to V0 sine omega t, which we studied in the chapter electromagnetic induction, the output of an AC generator. We saw how it is E equal to E0 sine omega t. So our AC source we represent with this function, V equal to V0 sine omega t, where V is the instantaneous voltage. At any particular instant, the voltage is what we call as the instantaneous voltage. V0 is the peak value of that voltage. Now also we know that at any instant the voltage across the plates of the capacitor will be V equal to Q by C, where one plate will be positive Q and then the other will be negatively charged. Okay, so we have our two equations. So we may equate this Q by C to V0 sine omega t, and Q therefore is C V0 sine omega t. Like I told you, we are going to find out an expression of current to see how the voltage and current are varying with respect to each other. So current, as you know, in the circuit is rate of flow of charge. So that is dq by dt. D by dt of q I substituted as cv0 sine omega t. And C and V0. C, as I told you, is the capacitance of the capacitor, depending on only the plate area, the distance between the plates, the dielectric constant of the medium between the plates. That's a constant. V0, the peak value, is also another constant. So we take that out. And sine omega t, I'm differentiating using this identity. D by dt of sine omega t being equal to cos omega t into omega. So that's how I got this omega into cos omega t. Now here, what I did is I equal to, I put this V0 on top, and C omega, 1 by C omega is equivalent to putting the C omega in the numerator into cos omega t. Now you'll see that this cos omega t maximum value, as you know, is 1. So if you take the maximum value of cos omega t as 1, then we have a current in the circuit as I equal to V0 by 1 by C omega, which should be the peak value of current, because I told you this takes maximum value. So if I write that, you will see that this will be, you can rewrite this as I0 should be equal to V0 by 1 by C omega, because cos omega t taking one value would give you the peak value of current. So here we have, so now we have this playing the role of resistance, because Ohm's law says I equal to V by R. So you will see that this factor here limits the current of the flow of AC current in the circuit, and we call that factor as XC, which is called the capacitive reactance, which is equal to the reactance, capacitive reactance, which is equal to 1 by C omega, showing you that it is inversely proportional to the capacitance of the circuit and inversely proportional to the frequency of the source. And this has the same dimensions of that of resistance, and it has also got the same unit ohm. Okay, so now we go back to our equation where we are going to replace this with I equal to V0 by 1 by C omega, which is V0 by XC, and replace with I0, and we have cos omega t. Now if I want to compare these two equations, I need to change this to sine function. So I may replace it as I0 sine omega t plus pi by 2, which is my second equation. So we now have our two equations for voltage and current, showing you very clearly that when the voltage covers an angle omega t, the current is already covering an angle omega t plus pi by 2, showing you that the current is ahead of voltage in the circuit by an angle pi by 2. So in the resistor only circuit, we saw that the voltage and the current were in phase, In the inductor circuit, we found that the current is lagging behind the voltage by an angle pi by 2, and in a capacitive circuit, we see that the current is ahead of the voltage by an angle of pi by 2. Now for plotting the graph, I have given you this table like we have done for the resistor and the inductor circuits, where I have taken the time period into 4 equal parts, that is 0, t by 4, t by 2, 3 by 4 the time period, and 1 complete time period. If I substitute the t values for omega t, it will be 0, angle covered at t by 4 will be pi by 2, pi, and at 3 t by 4 it is 3 pi by 2, and 1 complete time period it would have covered an angle omega t of 2 pi. So substituting these values for omega t in this function, we get the values of v. Sin 0 is 0, so we have this here. Sin 90 is 1, so we have v0. Sin 180 is 0, so back to 0. Sin 270 is minus 1, so we have minus v0 as v, and sin 2 pi will be back to 0. To get the current values, we substitute the omega t values in this equation, where omega t 0 would mean sin pi by 2, that's 1, so I is I0. Then when you substitute pi by 2 here, pi by 2 plus pi by 2 is pi, and sin pi is 0, so the current takes 0 value. The next value we need to substitute is pi. Pi plus pi by 2 is 3 pi by 2, which is 270. Sin 270 is minus 1, so we have minus I0. Next one we substitute is 3 pi by 2. So 3 pi by 2 plus pi by 2 is 4 pi by 2. That's 2 pi. Sin 2 pi is 0. So we have a current reducing to 0. And then we substitute omega t as 2 pi. So 2 pi plus pi by 2 will give you 5 pi by 2, which is again plus 1. So we have back to maximum value I0. With these two values, I've plotted our graph here, where V is starting from 0. At pi by 2, it attains plus V0, peak value. At pi, it reduces to 0. 3 pi by 2, negative V0, and then back to 0. Whereas our current at 0, omega t 0, the current is at peak value here, I0. Then next at pi by 2, it reduces to 0. At pi, it reduces to minus I0. And at 3 pi by 2 it goes back to 0, and at 2 pi it's back to plus I0. So you will see from this graphical representation that the current and the voltage are actually, the current is ahead of the voltage by an angle pi by 2 or a time interval t by 4. You see that the current is attaining its peak value at 0 itself. Only after an angle pi by 2 or a time t by 4 does the voltage attain that peak value. So they maintain a phase difference of pi by 2, and that's also clear from our equation here. This is further represented clearly using the phasor diagram. I repeat, phasors are just vectors which are capable of rotating in the xy plane above the origin with an angular speed of omega, and they are used to represent scalar quantities like voltage and current that vary with time. So phasor diagram for this would be, we have the xy plane here. V equal to V0 sin omega t means your phasor starting to rotate from the positive x-axis at any time interval t would have covered an angle omega t. And this represents the V. And as you know, the projection of this phasor onto this axis would give you the instantaneous value V0 sin omega t. So that is what we have here. The projection here will be that V0 sin omega t, the instantaneous value of voltage. But your current phasor, having started from the positive axis, would have covered an extra of pi by 2 ahead of voltage. So rotating in this manner, covering an extra pi by 2, so that this angle will be pi by 2. So this represents the current phasor, and the instantaneous value will be the projection of that current phasor onto this axis. So this would be I0 sin omega t. I'll write it here. I0 sin omega t, which is equal to the instantaneous value of current, the projection of this here. Now you will see that the peak value of voltage should be greater than the peak value of current, simply because you know that the peak value of current in this circuit is V0 by XC. So V0 by XC would mean that current I0 peak value should be less than the peak value of voltage. So this is the phasor diagram. Now what we need to discuss here further is the power dissipated in such a circuit. Just like the inductor, we discussed this in the inductor circuit also. So power dissipated at any instant. So we are now going to find out the average power dissipated over one complete cycle. Okay. So if you write an expression for the instantaneous power, this is V into I, where V is the instantaneous voltage and current is the instantaneous current. In our circuit here, we have instantaneous voltage given by V0 sine omega t, and this is given by I0 sine omega t plus pi by 2, which is, I am combining these two, V0 I0 sine omega t, and sine omega t plus pi by 2 as we know is cos omega t. I may rewrite this as V0 I0 by 2 multiplied by 2 sine omega t cos omega t. I can divide and multiply by 2. To use the identity, 2 sine theta cos theta, I've already told you in the previous section, is sine 2 theta. So using that identity, I may write V0 I0 by 2 sine 2 theta, right? So if you want to find the average power over complete cycle, I may represent it as P average. This I may take outside the averaging because it's a constant. So I'm going to average this value. Like I told you before in the previous session, when you average sine functions over one complete cycle, it will always reduce to 0 because sine functions are represented by this. So every positive value will have a corresponding negative value. So if you take the average over one complete cycle, you will get an average of 0. So we have this average as 0 or power average is equal to 0, showing you that in this circuit, just like in the inductor circuit, the average power dissipated over one complete cycle is 0. So no power dissipation here also, just like your inductor circuit. Before I conclude this session, I need to give you one information before I stop this class. That is, see, when we did inductor circuits, I told you, when we wanted to convert, that is, we got an equation for voltage was V0 sine omega t, but current we got as minus I0 cos omega t in the inductor circuit in the previous session. So when we needed to compare the two equations, I asked you to use the identity cos omega t. This one we took it as sine 90 minus theta. Now why we did that is because, as you know, sine A minus B equal to sine A cos B minus cos A sine B. So we used this as sine omega t minus pi by 2. This is what we did. Took minus cos omega t, we wrote it as sine omega t minus pi by 2 in the previous session, inductor circuit. So if I use this identity, this will be sine omega t cos pi by 2 minus cos omega t sine pi by 2. Right? Now this cos omega pi by 2 is 0 and sine pi by 2 is 1. So this will be actually equal to minus cos omega t because this reduces to 0 and this becomes 1. So we have this as minus cos omega t. So in our function for current in the previous session for inductor circuit, I asked you to replace minus cos omega t with sine omega t minus pi by 2 because that gives you minus cos omega t. In our session now for capacitor only circuit, what we got is I equal to plus I0 cos omega t. So to compare the two, we wanted to convert this into a sine function. So I am now going to take sine A plus B, which is sine A cos B plus cos A sine B, so that this omega t plus pi by 2 would be plus here, which means again this reduces to 0, this is 1, so this is plus. So plus cos omega t, I asked you to take it as sine omega t plus pi by 2. Using these identities, we showed that in an inductor circuit, current is lagging behind voltage by an angle pi by 2. But in this circuit where we have a capacitor circuit, the current is ahead of voltage by an angle pi by 2. The phasor diagrams and the graphical representations are very important. Also please remember, XC is capacitive reactance which is what limits current in a capacitor only circuit. Thank you.